The penultimate round of the Brian Green Property Group New Zealand Rally Championship is hosted in Mount Maunganui. The Battery Town Rally Bay of Plenty offers a mix of public roads, forestry stages in the heart of New Zealand's largest kiwi fruit growing region. Will the penultimate rally in the 2025 season deliver a zesty taste? It's all to play for here in the Bay. So Nzrc points after round 4, Hunt has an 11-point lead on Robbie Stokes. Josh Marston holding on to third, 15 points ahead of Jack Hawkswood. Dean Bewis leading the two-wheel drives in fifth ahead of Bryn Jones. So all eyes on the battle for the New Zealand Championship at the start, with a Skoda showdown between Robbie Stokes and Ben Hunt. And with 4 stages in the Matahina Forest in the morning, experience in forest rallying will be a big advantage.
We just have to go out there and do our thing and just have a clean, consistent rally and obviously push where we need to. And there is some technical stuff tomorrow, so we need to make sure we come out clean at the end of every stage without punches and things like that. So
just trying to keep our eyes forward and focus on the goals, just to come out of here where we are now, or even if we can gain some points on Ben, that would be magic. But getting to the finish and taking it to Whangarei for the finale would be a good thing.
An early morning start meant that the first cars faced low light conditions. This first stage is a challenging 11 kilometres which rewards getting into a rhythm early. Inland from the coast, conditions are slightly damp, so not a dust issue here. Robbie Stokes had worked hard since Coromandel to improve the Skoda, even taking former NZRC round winner Matt Summerfield as co-driver at the Mainland Series final rally to help assess the effectiveness of the changes. It shows how much effort this family team are putting into the NZRC, and with another Skoda arriving at the end of the year for younger brother Jack, 2026 looks even more promising for the Canterbury-based team. While it's all Skoda at the front, the AP4 Fiesta in the hands of Jack Stokes has the potential to disrupt. After a terrible start to the season which saw Jack win stages and then have the car break, he is not in a points-challenging position. But if he can take points away from Ben Hunt, then that would benefit his brother. The camera here making the stage look darker than it was, but it's still not ideal when Jack only has the car's headlights rather than the usual bright rally spotlights. Chasing him hard though, Jack Hawkswood in his AP4 Yaris. Josh Marston has been banking points throughout the year and sits third in the NZRC. While the two Skodas are probably out of his reach with 2 events to run, he has Jack Hawkswood closing in on his third place and won't want to give the young Auckland driver any advantage. With co-driver Andrew Graves, this crew are one of the most experienced pairings in the top class. Emma Gilmore returned in her Citroen C3 Rally 2, but a broken exhaust manifold would see her retire on stage 2. Hunt was under 2 seconds behind Robbie Stokes as they started stage 2. With just 1 car ahead of him, Hunt still had to contend with the dust, but this time he was fastest and took a 6-second lead. The dust is visibly thick here, but the real issue is the lack of any breeze. With the cars running at 1-minute intervals, there is simply not enough time for the dust to settle in the corners. This is where the pace notes are critical in keeping the driver confident on the road ahead. But even with Robbie's experience, he would be backing off momentarily when the dust is bad. 8 seconds slower than Hunt. As more cars compete on the stage, the dust just gets worse. Jack Stokes pushing hard, but he would lose 8 seconds to his brother by the stage end. It was only the second stage of the rally, and with a service following this stage, it was not a place for heroics. Jack Hawkswood was 4th fastest in his Yaris AP3. Josh Marston would be very aware that in conditions like this, it pays to play the long game and back off. But that feeling of losing time never sits well in a driver's head.
Okay, 100. Short sticks left plus.
But there was relief to come, as the organisers had now imposed a 2-minute gap between cars for the following group of stages in the forest, much to the relief of the drivers.
The first stage was probably a bit like everyone else, trying to get into the rhythm, and it was pretty dark. You know, this cloud that we've had made it pretty challenging in there. I see Mike Young took his spotlight, so good on him. And the second stage is a grouse road, but very dusty.
First stage was probably the worst stage I think I've driven this year, but the time was good, so yeah, we'll keep pushing.
Two pretty different stages. The first stage surprisingly dark, but just tried to make as little mistakes as possible, and then the second one was just, the dust was just insane. So you're braking for flat corners and you just trust your notes, but when you can't see the apex, the risk isn't worth it, I guess.
The rally now entered the Matahina forest, a massive Pinus radiata plantation in the shadow of Putoaki, Mount Edgecombe, a dormant volcano near Kawerau. This was the first time rally had used these roads for 20 years. Ben Hunt looking to extend his lead, but he hit a culvert and spun on this stage, losing 20 seconds. So a good time through the stage for Robbie Stokes would definitely see him take a commanding lead.
300, flat, 7 right, C500.
These forest roads were built for huge trucks with up to 3 trailers, so there are long straights like this, but the corners on the roads are not tight. The key to speed on these stages is managing the variety of road surfaces, from open, clear feld to narrow roads with trees right up to the edge. It's something that can really play on a driver's confidence. After the 34 kilometres of Stage 3, Stage 4 was just an 11-kilometre sprint. Robbie Stokes would head to the second service with a 15-second lead. But it was Jack Stokes who took the Stage 4 win by under 1 second. That would see him third at the service, just 6 seconds behind Hunt.
It was cool, eh? It was cool, eh?
Jack Hawkswood in fourth, but Josh Marston was closing to under 10 seconds away. Hawkswood had expected to debut his new Rally 2 Yaris at this event, but when the car arrived from Finland, he discovered that the seats, which are available in different size options, were too small for himself and co-driver Jason Farmer, or in fact any human being. New seats are on their way to New Zealand and should arrive in time for the car to debut at the Vertex Oil International Rally of Whangarei in a few weeks. Josh Marston has plenty of experience in the Canterbury forests at home, so is starting to pressure Hawkswood here.
Big balls, absolute 8 right, 100.
Not a conventional pace note call, but we get the meaning here as the car reaches top speed through the trees. A service and regroup in Kawerau and time to reflect on the return to the forest stages next.
Yeah, probably 2/3 of the way through that stage, just there's quite a lot of loose gravel on there and got caught out on a right-hander and just sucked us into one of those big water drains that they have in the forestry, and managed to spin us down the road quite a few times, and pretty lucky to be honest to get out of that, but we'll push on from here and try and just regroup, and we had a bit of a nudge through that last stage and lost a little bit, but we the car's feeling good. So
That forestry it's good fun, but it's treacherous. It can just throw you off with the changing grip all the time, and a couple of corners you go wide on, but we'll clean it up for the second pass.
Definitely a bit of everything. Your pace notes are actually quite different to what they are on the open roads, so you had to adjust for that, but I enjoyed it.
It's much better now. We've got the 2-minute gaps. There's no dust out there, but I think for the afternoon we've got the repeat stages there, so we'll have another good crack through there again, and then we're just going to try and keep in front of Josh and just snap those championship points up.
Ben Hunt slower by 8 seconds on the second run through Matahina. But it was the younger Stokes who won the stage. A stage win on stage 5 and 4th fastest here on stage 6 would place Jack Stokes in second. 1.6 seconds ahead of Ben Hunt, setting up an epic battle from here to the very last stage. Hunt could not afford to lose second place points.
7 right, straightens on crest 60.
Robbie Stokes had mistakenly entered the service park early after being waved through, so while he held the rally lead over these 2 stages, there was a possibility of a penalty for him, which would change the rally lead again. Jack Hawkswood went into these repeat stages with more confidence. He was just 0.4 of a second slower on stage 5 than Robbie Stokes. And on stage 6, he was second fastest and only 1/10 of a second away from the stage win. There had been some concern that the first run through the stages would see large rocks pulled out of the road based by the 4-wheel drive cars. But the roads held up very well and none of the top Nzrc cars suffered punctures. Marston was still in touch with Hawkswood, the gap only 16 seconds, close enough to take advantage if the younger driver had a spin. So at the third service, Robbie Stokes had a 10.3 second margin over his brother, with Hunt just 1.6 seconds back. Hawkswood in 4th, 16 seconds ahead of Marston. Manawahei Road was the first of the stages out of the forest. Shortened this year, but still a great challenge. Despite the difference between the AP4 Holden and the Rally 2 Skoda, Stokes and Marston were separated by just 0.3 of a second here.
Nice work. That's a cool stage. That was awesome. Do that twice. Yeah.
Time's been really close, and that stage in there is fantastic. Hey, we need to run that twice. Like that's yeah, it's such a good flow. Like first time through, but like obviously heard about it and that sort of jazz in the past, eh? But like, what an amazing flow. Eh? It's almost like a South Island road.
Lives up to the reputation there.
Yeah, somewhat.
A new challenge next on stage 8, where the start was on tarmac, which puts incredible strain on the drivetrain. The battle for second between Jack Stokes and Ben Hunt was changing stage by stage. Hunt had the advantage on stage 7, but Jack fought back here on stage 8. By the end, the gap was under half a second.
60, 6 right, 320.
And the race for 4th between Hawkswood and Marston. Well, at the stage end here, Marston had closed that to under 10 seconds.
On seal, over finish, 50, 7 rights. Well done.
Stage 9 was a repeat of stage 2, but in the opposite direction. The dust issue had gone, and at our live point there was actually a stretch of tarmac. At 14 kilometres, this was Hunt's best chance to overtake Stokes for the lead. Ben's onboard camera had failed on stage 1, so we can't show just how hard he was trying, but we can see here that he was pushing the Skoda Rally 2 to the absolute limit. Stage time, 6 minutes 50.7. The margin going into the stage, 11 seconds between the 2 Skodas. Stokes will have to push hard to match Hunt's time in here. A win here for Stokes will close the gap to Hunt to just 9 points going into the final round and keep the momentum in Stokes' challenge. Let's see what his time is. Oh, 7 minutes. He's lost 9.2 seconds to Hunt. The gap now just 1.7 seconds going into the final stage. And with Jack Stokes just 0.2 of a second behind Hunt, he could well be a real threat to his brother as well. What a dramatic end to the day. Not sure I'd want to be in the Stokes team if Jack passes Robbie for the lead here.
Over finish, 200 to seal. Absolutely lovely.
6 minutes 52.8. Just a couple of seconds slower than Hunt.
Good stuff. That was so sick.
So he'll remain in third, but well in the fight. It was Jack Hawkswood who was closest to Hunt on the stage by 1.6 seconds. That allowed him to ease out his advantage to Marston in that 4th place battle. So Josh Marston taking 5th place for the rally and keeping his 3rd place in the championship. Hawkeswood had a mature drive to take 4th and keep up the pressure on Marston. Fortunately for family harmony, Jack Stokes eased back his pace on the last stage, which would cement him a fine 3rd place. It has been another great day for this young driver, and no doubt 2026 will see him fighting for the title.
30. Long 7 right minus. Nips.
But the fight to first wasn't over. Ben Hunt won the stage with a 7 minutes 37.7. That gave Robbie Stokes a buffer of just 1.6 seconds if he was to take the win.
Looking short, 6 right over crest, maybe 40. Flat 6 left, hug 50. Flat 6 right.
Let's check out the time.
30 long 6 right, and you're done.
7 minutes 37.8, just 1/10 of a second down on Hunt, but he's taken the rally win.
So a win to Robbie Stokes by the narrowest margin, just 1.4 seconds to Hunt. Jack Stokes just 9.3 back in 3rd, ahead of Jack Hawkeswood in 4th and Josh Marston in 5th.
I heard someone say you're not a rally driver until you've won in the North Island, so can take that one off now.
Hunt leads with 155 points to Stokes' 146. Marston cannot get higher than 2nd, but will be under pressure from Jack Hawkeswood to hold on to 3rd. Dean Buist has done a fine job in 5th to head the 2-wheel drive competitors. Jack Stokes finally gets into the top 8 after a great drive and will be looking for a win at Whangarei to carry him into the top 5. Yes, 44 points on offer at the final round rally Whangarei, and with all new stages on day 1, this will be an epic final. Catch the action live on Saturday the 8th and Sunday the 9th of November on Nzrc TV and our live results partner chrissport.nz.